everyone. Today we are going to watch about the role of manufacturing sector in Malaysia's GDP. The manufacturing sector plays a crucial role in Malaysia's economy, contributing significantly to the country's gross domestic product (GDP. It has been a key driver of industrialization since the 1980s, helping Malaysia's transitions from an agriculture-based economy to a more diverse and competitive one. Manufacturing includes industries such as electronics, automotive, food processing, and chemicals, which generate employment and attract foreign investments. In 2023, the sector contributed over 366 billion Malaysian ringgit to the GDP, making it the second largest economic sector in the country. Additionally, Malaysia has developed high-value manufacturing hubs in regions like Penang, Kulim, Klang Valley, and Johor, which enhance productivity and innovation. Despite challenges such as rising costs and global competition, the sector remains vital for Malaysia's economic growth and stability. Malaysia's manufacturing sector stands as a cornerstone of economic progress, shaping industries and driving national growth. Contributing nearly 1/4 of the country's GDP, this sector fuels innovation, creates jobs, and strengthens Malaysia's position in global trade. But what makes manufacturing such a vital force, and how does it continue to evolve in an increasingly competitive world?
Let's discuss about GDP. GDP is gross domestic product. GDP is the total amount of all goods and services produced in a nation typically a year. There are four components of GDP, which is consumption, investment, government spending, and net exports. Consumption is the sum of retail goods and services purchased by citizens or rent. It is the largest component of GDP. Investment is domestic investment or capital expenditure. Government expenditure is expenditure by the government in terms of goods and services such as education, transport, or healthcare. Lastly, net exports is the export of goods and services produced domestically to other countries minus the import purchased by domestic consumers.
Have you ever wondered how the thing you use every single day actually come to exist? For example, your phone, the clothes you're wearing, and the chair you're sitting on. That's the word of the manufacturing sector. The manufacturing sector refers to a subset of the industrial sector that includes activities such as production of food, chemicals, metals, and minerals. The manufacturing sector is the second largest sector in Malaysia, since this sector has contributed more than 366 billion Malaysian ringgit to its gross domestic products GDP in 2023. This amount is higher compared to the previous year, 2022, with the amount of 364.12 billion Malaysian ringgit. The increased amount reflects recovery from earlier disruption like pandemic COVID-19, which heavily impacted production and supply chain. Other than that, the government plays an important role by implementing policies to position the country as a hub for energy and semiconductor manufacturing, aiming to attract investment. This initiative provides a conducive environment for manufacturing growth. Moreover, the manufacturing sector employed nearly 2.8 million people in Malaysia in 2023, and the number has been steadily rising since 2050, even though there is a slight decline that occurred in 2020. Madani government has pointed out that the manufacturing sector will be the key sector for thousands of new jobs. In short, the manufacturing sector is one of the major forces in Malaysia's economy by driving growth, creating jobs, and shaping the nation's future.
Today, we're gonna talk about how does it contribute to GDP. GDP are short form from gross domestic product. Is the total market value of all final goods and services produced within a country in a given period, usually a year or a quarter. It measures the size and health of country economy. How does it contribute to GDP? As consumption, C. Spending by household on goods and service, plus investment, I. Spending on capital goods by business and change in inventories, plus government spending, G. Expenditure by the government on goods and service. Then plus net exports, less exports, minor imports, goods produced domestic and sold abroad contribute positively. Imports are subtracted. Above are the trends from our country GDP sector manufacturing from 2016 until 2024. From years 2016 until 2019, growth was stable. fluctuating modestly between 3% and 6%, indicating steady manufacturing performance. A sharp decline occurred, dropping about -80% likely due to the COVID-19 pandemic impact on global manufacturing and supply chain. In 2020 first quarter, Malaysian manufacturing sector contribute 1.3% to the country's total GDP and decreased on the second quarter 2020 that contribute -80.6%. Sector manufacturing GDP increased on third quarter 2020 that's 3.2% and on the fourth quarter are 3.0%. In 2021 until 2022, a strong recovery with a massive spike up to nearly 30% growth, followed by fluctuation between 5% and 50%. 2021 first quarter manufacturing sector contribute 6.6% GDP, and the difference between first quarter 2021 and second quarter 2021 are 20.1%. In 2021, third quarter manufacturing sector decreased to -0.9% and increased to 9.1% in fourth quarter 2021. On 2022 first quarter manufacturing GDP contribute to 6.7% and not very difference between the other quarter. In 2022 and fourth quarter was contribute 4.0%. 2023 until 2024, manufacturing growth slowed down again, even dipping slightly negative for a brief period. The manufacturing sector expanded 5.7% in the third quarter of 2024 as compared to 5.7% in the preceding quarter. This growth was backed by the production of electrical, electronic and optional products, petroleum, chemical, rubber and plastic products, and non-metallic mineral products, basic metal and fabricated metal products. The agriculture sector increased by 4.0% in the third quarter of 2024 as compared to 7.2% growth in the previous quarter. The performance was supported by the growth of the oil palm. Other agriculture are livestock subsector, while the fishing subsector record negative growth in this quarter. Manufacturing sector moderate to 4.3% in the fourth quarter of 2024 as compared to 5.6% in the preceding quarter. This growth was supported by the production of electrical, electronic and optional products, such as petroleum, chemical, rubber and plastic products, and vegetable and animal oils and fats and food processing products.
The manufacturing sector in Malaysia is facing several serious challenges that threatens its contribution to the GDP. One of the biggest challenges is rising costs. Manufacturers are dealing with higher expenses for labor, raw materials, energy, and machinery maintenance, with many reporting cost increases of up to 20%. This made worse by the weak Malaysian ringgit, which rises the price of the imported goods. Another major challenge is global supply chain disruptions. Events like pandemics and geopolitical tension have delayed shipments, reduced access to essential components, and forced some companies to scale back production or even lost customers to competitors in other countries. Labor shortage are also a critical problem. Malaysia is currently lacking over 1 million workers across manufacturing, plantation, and construction. Together, these challenges putting significant pressure on Malaysia's manufacturing sector and its roles driving the GDP.
The government has introduced several policies and initiatives to ensure the manufacturing sector becomes a competitive force globally. One of the initiatives is Industry Forward, Malaysia's national policy on the fourth industrial revolution. This policy aims to digitally transform the sector by integrating advanced technology like AI and IoT, making Malaysia a strategic partner and hub for smart manufacturing and high-tech industry in the Asia-Pacific. To support exports, the Malaysian government introduced the Allowance for Increased Exports or AIE, which gives additional tax deductions to manufacturing companies that successfully grow their export sales, especially when entering new markets or focusing on high value-added products. Malaysia also benefits through regional trade agreements like RCEP and CPTPP, which connects local manufacturers to a considerable amount of international markets. These agreements lower tariffs, simplify trade rules, and gives easier export access to countries such as China, Japan, and Canada. Together, these efforts position Malaysia as a globally connected and competitive manufacturing hub, ready to lead in the region's evolving economic landscape.